We'll be going over the earnings and we'll be going over them. Okay, we're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Facebook. I'm live. I'm good. No, I'm a little late, but I am indeed live. Hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, Lulu and more. Our post earnings analysis. Our accurate algorithmic stock levels, our game plan and forex, as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick. This is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. We have so many good things stuck, in store for you today. We're going to talk about Lulu earnings, PVH, Five Below. We're going to analyze them and see if they really deserved, in Mark Melnick's view, the gaps that they have received. We were a little bullish on Lulu. That obviously worked. Congratulations to everyone who profited off of that. We have so many things to talk to you about, including that this will be the last Newsbeat Show that you will ever see again in the 200 range. We're going to Newsbeat Show number 300 tomorrow. So say goodbye, 200s. To the 300s, we move forward. And I would love to go on with this show. But first, I must say, by watching this video, you agree to hold Mark Melnick and T3 Live harmless, not responsible for anything that you might hear, see, think, say, dream on this video. If you do not agree to those terms complicitly, you must exit this video immediately. Well, thank you so much. And I'm pretty excited to go to Newsbeat Show number 300. I mean, when you think about it, like Newsbeat Show 3, that's like 300 days of shows on, just so much content. That doesn't include the evolutionary gatherings and a lot of the other stuff we do. But I just thought we would go right into the earnings today, talk about some of the gaps we're seeing after hours. So I pulled up charts here with showing the after hours gap. Here's Lululemon, a name that we're very bullish on, and a lot of people caught in the room. Let's just take it right to the raw and dirty numbers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been in a Lulu. I don't know if you girls have ever been in a Lululemon, but I'm telling you, it's like I was in Canada and I walked in. I mean, there was a Lululemon in my mall. I'm not sure if it's there anymore. I rarely go to the mall, but I was walking down the street and I said I want to walk inside a Lululemon. They were reporting next week, and I said, you know what? I want to tell my members how I felt, like the vibe of the store. I kid you not. It's like you're back in college again, going to that weird nightclub, showing your fake ID and getting in. And I know none of you guys ever did that, right? Like, you're not supposed to do that, right? But that's what it felt like. They're pumping oxygen as if it were a casino. And you see these women just moving on to like a very like up pace disco beat. It's like they're walking in the store and they have like these shopping carts with like five, six, $700 in merchandise, and they're just moving on along. And I'm like, this is amazing because like you rarely have five, six, $700 in merchandise. I'll tell you, like the worst damage I've ever done in Costco, I think was like $400, and I literally had I literally had toilet paper for the next like 72 years. Like I don't think I ever needed to buy toilet paper ever again. I had enough milk where I couldn't drink a glass every 3 hours and finish it before it became spoiled. And like I think I bought like one third cow. I think that's what they classified it. It's like, would you like a third of a cow? And I loaded the car and it was like $400. But and you have the big like Costco carts. They're like huge, right? Lulu, they're not. There's these little carts and they were like $700 in merchandise. And they're walking around. It's like, you know, and they're just like looking at the, just like looking at everything thrown in like $120 shirts. It was the sickest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, these guys got it. They totally got it. And Why actually I was bullish in Lulu all this time because I you literally see the type of customers that come in, and those are the customers that are loyal. And believe it or not, people of all income levels shop at Lululemon. It's not just like, even though it's upscale clothing, people with moderate incomes and modest incomes do go there and shop there. So let's take it to the numbers. 85 beats the 74 expected. 1.2 billion in revenue beats the 1.15 billion in revenue. That shows that Lulu had a very good quarter. However, you know how Mark Melnick rolls. I'm going to go ahead and disregard that and pretend that didn't happen. I want to look at your future projections. Next quarter, they said 68 to 70 cents versus the 68 expected. Not only that, they said they'll make 740 million to 750 million, and that's versus the 743.7 million expected. So they, on average, that's 745. But what I also wanted to do here with Lulu is also, show you some of the prior earnings and some of the things they said before, because it's really, you know what I realized, one of the easiest ways to tell if like a company is modest or not when they give you like earnings projections, one of the easiest ways to really tell that is is to see what they announced before. So I want to take you back to January. It was a beautiful day. It was the morning of January 14th, and Lululemon's CEO came out and just boosted the quarter. He came out and he said this on January 14th. This wasn't even earnings. He said he's raising the Q4 EPS view to $1.72 to $1.74 versus $1.64 to $1.67 expected. He said they're going to make 1.14 billion to 1.15 billion, and the prior estimate was 111.5 billion to 112.5 billion. So he came out in January. January 14th was that like 2 months and a week ago, approximately. I just want to show you what happened on January 14th after the CEO said that. The stock opened up and gapped up. So here is my logical question here. Well, all right, you predicted that in January. How close was the CEO to projections? Was he undercutting? So the consensus was $1.74. The CEO said in January there'd be $1.72 to $1.74. So analysts took the high end of the CEO's estimates, and then he comes out and the CEO is like, well, we made $1.85 versus $1.74 expected. So he gave his estimates and then clearly hand over fist beat them. So what that tell and they did 1.2 billion in revenues versus the 1.15 billion in revenue. And that's an extra $50 million. That's nothing to scoff at. So again, when I see, them raise earnings and they raised their fiscal year 2019 earnings per share 448 to 455 versus the 440 expected. So that is again a very bullish thing because this company loves to promise here and deliver here. That's what this company likes to do. Under promise, over deliver. Whether it's intentional or not, you and I could guess that all day. As a result, Lululemon completely deserves this gap up, completely deserves this pop up. And the technical level I would watch is, I'll take you to a weekly chart. It is very simple here. Just watch the all-time high. It's 164.79. We actually haven't hit that level even in the post hours. I mean, not saying we're not above there tomorrow. We hit 162.89, but I mean, it looks pretty clear that Lululemon wants all-time highs. I give it 2 Melnick thumbs up on Lululemon in their earnings report. Next earnings report is Phillips Van Heusen, another apparel manufacturing company. And it just seems that these companies have been doing well. So PVH right now, you could see what it did after hours. It gapped up like 11 points, just a massive gap up. and Phillips Van Heusen. Let's go over the numbers. 84 beats the 76 expected. They have revenues of 2.48 billion versus the 2.1 billion expected. Taking a look here at the stock, they authorized a 750 million stock buyback. So did Lululemon. Congratulations. They see their next. Here's the thing that throws me a little off. They saw their Q1 earnings per share 240 to 245 versus the 245 consensus. Now, they knew those numbers sucked, which is why they announced a 750 million buyback. They added 750 million to the pre-existing company stock repurchase program. I have a real issue with that. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird when a company starts buying its own shares. I mean, on one hand, you're like, well, the company believes in itself, Mark. You really believe in the company believes in what it's doing. But at the same time, when they do that, the stock price usually goes significantly higher. So it's like buying a stock here, but knowing that it's gonna go up based on the money you're pouring into it. Okay. And by the way, if you don't know who Phillips Van Heusen's is, they make like Tommy Hilfiger. Just by the way, if you were a little confused because they don't advertise as Phillips Van Heusen, they're like Tommy Hilfiger, old school goodness. This company does not deserve a gap up like this. It does not. They saw their fiscal year 19 earnings per share 1030 to 1040 versus the 1032 expected. And while that was good, I am very concerned in how they said their Q1 earnings per share will be 240 to 245 versus the 245 expected. Basically coming out and saying that if they don't, meet the top end of that goal, they're going to have, I'll argue, bad earnings. So I'm a little bit skeptical on PVH. Now, I don't know if you were ever in a five below. They reported tonight, FIVE. Getting a very small gap up here, just 3.5 points here at the moment, as you can see on this five below. I went in a five below, and you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of an upscale dollar store. I don't know if you've ever been to some of the dirty, grubby dollar stores in the interesting areas of Brooklyn. But, you go inside those stores and it just feels like everything is like dirty. The place isn't really kept clean because it's just such a cheap store and, they tried to pinch a penny by not cleaning the floors. Five Below is like the exact opposite of that. Five Below is like, to me, what a clean dollar store would look like. Granted, I just walked by all the candy, didn't buy any, really. And I'm like, wow. Wow, maybe I should do my Halloween shopping here for the kids who ring the doorbell. I'm shocked at the people who shop at Five Below. I guess I understand the store. I go in and I'm like, I don't know. I think like why buy a $2, $3 pair of scissors there when I could just click on Amazon for, and have it delivered to my door. I guess that laziness kicks in. Let's talk about their bottom line numbers. $1.59 beats the $1.58 expected. 602.7 million beats the 602 expected. Yeah, as we did with Lulu, it's nothing personal. We're going to just pull that inside. We want to see future projections. We want to see what the company expects in the future. They see their Q1 earnings 32 to 35 cents versus the 40 cents expected. They see fiscal year 19 earnings $3 to 307 versus the 314 expected. They saw comp store sales up 4.4%. They see next quarter's revenue 361 to 366 million versus the 363.68 million, which is slightly below because it's 363.5 versus 363.68. So they're saying like we might miss a little. Fine. If you told me those earnings and you showed me the earnings report and you said, Mark, take a guess where Five Below would be right now, Chart like this? I don't know, $90 should be down about I would say 30 points on earnings is about right. Maybe 20. Maybe 20 30 points this thing should be down on earnings. This is the one that makes no sense. Five Below's earnings were atrocious. They were atrocious. They are slowing down. Their momentum is like this. But then I stop and I pull up the weekly of the stock price and I say, that's okay if your trend is lower because Wall Street probably caught on already and was probably selling your stock price off for a while now. And then what I do is I go to the weekly chart and I'm like, oh my God, this thing is overpriced. How are they gapping this garbage up? Talk about putting lipstick on the pig and calling it a prom date. This is one of the most shocking things I have seen this year, and I have seen a lot of BS this year. For them to gap up Five Below, who's stupid enough to hold their shares here? The company who's forced to, the CEO shares? I don't know. Who's dumb enough to buy? Why on earth would I buy a company that is on the decline that sells, as they say in certain parts of Brooklyn, tchotchkes and pieces of candy, and it's not even that cheap? Like, I looked at the candy and I'm like, I could get it cheaper on Amazon. See ya. Not that I ever order candy. The fact that this stock didn't get obliterated as if the angels from above came down, smiled upon this stock, and prevented anything wrong from happening. I'll play this either way tomorrow. I'll go short this thing, and I'll stand by my analysis here. Lulu totally deserves where it is. PVH 50-50. Five Below, no way on this green earth does this stock. I mean, forget about it not being down on earnings. This thing should be down 20 at least, 30 if analysts come out and start smashing it. What I want to see, here's going to be the key with Five Below. This is what you do. If you want to gain value from this is what you do. You look tomorrow at the analysts who comment on it. And when you see the analysts come out and not bash it, if an analyst comes out, for example, and upgrades it or reiterates these overweight ratings because they see a gap up, write that analyst down, and in the future, do exactly the opposite of whatever that analyst says. Because this is the Christmas miracle that Five Below is actually up after hours. I have nothing against the store. I walked in, it's cool, I get it, I understand the concept. Your numbers sucked. It's fine. I mean, you had one heck of a run. It had to end sometimes. What? You're up? Wow. I am in such utter dismay that I must go to the Newsbeat Live algorithmic levels. These levels don't always hit, but when they do hit support, you tend to have a buying opportunity through those levels, and when it does hit resistance, I tend to have a selling or shorting or put opportunity through those levels. These levels don't always hit. These levels are only valid for tomorrow, March 28th. So again, I would like to thank you for being part of Newsbeat Show 200 to 299. It was definitely my pleasure serving you through the 200 videos. We're going to have Newsbeat Show number 300 tomorrow. Maybe there'll be something special for you. But if you like this sort of content and you like the commentary that we do on some of these earnings names, be sure to leave a message. For $49 with a link in the description, you can also be part of the largest, fastest growing trading room in the United States of America. Happy trading, make money. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.